Okay, welcome everybody to the Most Valuable Podcast. I am Mark Williams here with my colleague
Victor Castro.
and we are coming to you today with tons and tons of great topics to discuss. This year in real estate has been one for the books, you can say. There's been lawsuits, there's been changes, we have an election year. I mean, there's so much that's going on that we are hoping that you're enjoying all the topics that we are talking about. We are trying to take a little bit different approach on this podcast and really give you, the potential buyer or seller or just the consumer, more of a inside look at real estate and kind of what goes on and what's kind of discussed and the things that we're trying to overcome and things that we're seeing in the industry as two dudes that do this for a living full time and love to help families become homeowners. So, like always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Set your notification. Most Valuable Podcast available on all major platforms where you get your podcasts. And if you want to look at our pretty faces, you can go on YouTube and check us out on there under MVP Real Estate. Or you can type in Most Valuable Podcast and it should pop up. All right, Victor, enough with the intro stuff. Let's jump right into it. So if you've been living under a rock, then you didn't hear about something called the NRA settlement, which is the National Association of Realtors settlement. There was a big lawsuit. I want to say it stemmed from something that took place in the state of Tennessee, where the plaintiff sued, and maybe you can elaborate this on, Victor, because I still don't understand what took place, but something happened where realtors got sued, and we're all under the National Association of Realtors, so we got sued for like price fixing or something like that, and the lawsuit went in the plaintiff's favor, being that NAR was the defendant, and I think the lawsuit was like $418 million was the settlement. Do you know anything about that settlement?
All I know is that, just from facts, Tennessee's documentation, right? Real estate documents are very different than, for example, ours here in California. And things that are disclosed in those documents aren't the same that are disclosed here. And so I think that was the stem of the problem.
Okay.
That's where it's stemming from. And so, I mean, I don't know what was said between the parties, between the agents and the client, but they felt like they were forced to pay more than they had to.
Got you. Forced to pay the person selling, or
yes, well, not only them, but as far as the buyer as well.
So forced to pay too
the
much
commission
for the service.
Yes. They were under the impression that this wasn't negotiable. That was the whole thing.
Gotcha.
They were fighting because they didn't know it was negotiable when it's been negotiable.
So they thought it was like, okay, now that makes a little bit more sense. So they're saying that, hey, they didn't know that they can negotiate how much they were going to get charged to sell their property.
Correct.
They didn't have an understanding.
Or how much they had to give or pay the buyer's agent in the transaction.
Well, didn't you just ask?
Yes. you just ask, or, I mean, it's also the agent's responsibility.
I mean,
if you think about it. So we don't know exactly what happened. We weren't there to witness it. However, I think something that, could have been handled at the state level went national and to the federal court.
It was like Supreme Court or something.
Supreme Court. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so we're all paying the consequences of that now. If any.
My thing would be, look, if you own a home, more than likely you've purchased a vehicle before.
Yes.
Right? And here, the two don't correlate normally. I'm going to make a correlation. You go to the car dealer. You see the car you like. Oh, I want to get this new Mustang. You see the sticker price, right? And it gives you like the MSRP and then the dealer markup and then how much it costs, right? So it displays how much it costs. So you're aware of what the cost is. Then you ask, can I get it cheaper? You have any incentives? Like, Wouldn't you do the same thing if you're selling your home? Hey, this is how much I think my home's worth. What do you think it's worth? Right? Boom. Okay, how much do you charge, Victor? I charge 6%. Okay. What's that breakdown? Like how much is it 6% total or is it 6%
Just to
each
you,
to
or
you?
yeah,
Oh no, it's total. And I give the buyer agent 2.5 and my fee is really 3.5. And this is what you get for it. Here's the breakdown. And we give something called a net sheet.
hmm
Well, this is disclosed. I'm pretty sure every state does a net sheet, right? I still don't understand why they sued. Just because they didn't were unhappy. So we can just sue if we're unhappy paying stuff. I'm unhappy paying the amount of tax I pay. Can I sue the government?
right,
You
right,
know what I'm saying? Like they don't disclose stuff to me. Well, you
exactly,
have to be like you have to have like a license or a degree to understand tax code.
correct.
Why? That is so complicated. You ever just look at your taxes after you pay someone to do them? You ever try to just figure out what these lines mean and put this? It's like a huge math problem that no one knows how to do except for a select few. But yet, that's less clear. So this lawsuit is saying that was more clear than 6% and three's going here and three's going there.
Yeah,
Unless they were able to prove that someone did ask and say, can that be changed? And if the answer was like a hard no, then yeah, that person was at the wrong, but that's that specific agent. What I think we say it's usually industry standard. Doesn't mean it's an industry requirement. Industry standard and industry requirement are two different things.
completely different.
Standard is just kind of like a baseline. That's usually what people charge. It's the
Mhm.
standard.
Right.
Again, let's get into that. Okay, cool. So you shed great clarity on it. I'm just saying, like, it still doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, 100%. It you can't. Uh, I don't. I don't understand it either. All I know is that the changes were made, and now we're having to abide by these new rules and regulations. And I love it. I love the change. Actually, I've spoken about it on the other episodes that we've had, but to the consumer, it's still confusing, and we're still being able to, or having to provide clarity and information for them because there's a lot of things that they don't know about.
Yeah, why don't you share? I know you have a new listing in Stockton, and this past weekend was the first round of open houses for that listing. Listing looks amazing, by the way, and what Victor charges is what you get.
Right.
It's clear cut. So if you're listening to this, like, take a look at the presentation of the property. But that being said, there's a new rule when looking at homes as a potential buyer. You want to go into that? Those rules are?
Yeah. So the new rules, Mark, it forces any visitor that wants to take a tour of the property to be represented by an agent or be there with their agent, representing agent. And if you're not there with your representing agent, then you're forced to sign a disclosure form with your name, number, and email. Why? Because there is a potential that something may happen down the line. And if you get sued, maybe that person was hurt on the property. Who knows? Something could happen. Who was this person? There needs to be some sort of record to know who came in and out of that
Who
house.
entered the property?
Correct. And so that's what this disclosure is for. It's just a form for us to cover our butts.
Yeah, and I think looking at that form too, it discloses the real estate relationships,
Correct.
right? Selling agent, buying agent, what our roles are.
You're not forced to
You're
use
not
this
forced. Yeah,
agent.
so it's essentially a disclosure for you as a potential buyer because you do not need to have representation to buy a home. So let's just get that clear. You do not have to use an agent to buy a home. However, you will not have access to any of the forms. You don't have access to the MLS to search for properties. You don't have access to like confidential stuff. You don't have access to disclosure sometimes. You are not expected to know this stuff because you're not a real estate agent.
kind of like what you mentioned, when you go to a car dealership, you're kind of negotiating for yourself, right? You don't have an
You
agent
don't have an
negotiating.
agent, you negotiate for yourself, right? And there are companies that do it for you. There are brokers, car brokers that you can hire that will find you your vehicle and do all the research for you, and they add a fee to what they do, right? I mean,
Exactly.
you don't go to your, you don't diagnose your, I know we have the internet now, so you can find out a lot of stuff by just, typing it in the internet. Same thing with like medical. You feel an illness, you may search it online. They tell you don't look online because you think you're going to be dying, right? You might just have a cold. You look online, you think your arm's going to fall off. But what I'm getting at is you may do a little research just because we have information at our fingertips now, but then you go see an expert to get the facts and to see what's really wrong with you. Well, I feel that's the same thing with like real estate. You can do a little bit of research. You're doing some window shopping on Zillow, Realtor.com,
Walking into an open house.
walking into an open house, right? Checking out the neighborhoods, killing some time. And then when it's time to do it, unless you're a cash buyer, you're going to be talking to a lender, and then you're going to reach out to an agent to see who's going to represent you, right? To help you fill out the contracts and go through the fine print, so to speak. So this disclosure is not to get your information and spam people. I think that's kind of what, because as open houses, we want to get people's information.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the business of helping people. You got to get in front of people and get people's information in order to offer their services. So open houses, there's no secret that agents want your business if you walk in by yourself.
100%.
Whether it's for that house or to help you,
or in a future, another home.
future homes, right? We're selling ourselves. Let's be real here, right? That's what we do to make money. But that is just to disclose the relationship. And to your point, one, knowing who's coming into the home, and then two, if that person ends up wanting to purchase the home, it's covers based on the lawsuit. It's covering us as agents saying, hey, we gave them what the disclosure is about representation. Before they even looked at this home and got information on this home from us, we disclosed our duties to them.
Correct.
Right? So that's what it's really for. So you had a couple people that did not want to sign in. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, no. So Saturday had 7 groups come in. 2 of them decided not to sign in for whatever reason. They didn't want to provide their email. They were okay with providing their name and maybe their number, but they didn't want to put an email. And so it's very important to be, is like complete on this form. So I asked kindly, and they said they don't feel comfortable. So I said, then sorry, but you cannot see the home. And, I can see they weren't too happy, but what am I supposed to do? I don't make up the rules. Rules are rules.
Rules are rules.
Rules that I didn't make up, and this is what they wanted. This is what was settled in court.
Yeah.
So if this was a rule that, the public wanted, then got to suffer the consequences as well.
And it's not that they can't see the home. They can come back and look at the home with their whoever they signed that disclosure with.
Yeah.
Because when we help you, when you come work with an agent to help buy a home now, a couple things happen. Go through all the minutia and get pre-approved and all that stuff. Then before we do the fun part, which is going to look at homes, we have to have a contract with you stating our duties, right? What our fiduciary duties are, what we're charging you, whether you're paying it or it ends up being negotiated in the contract. Everything is clear cut. There's no gray area anymore. And that needs to be signed by all parties involved. Us as the agent, you as our buyer, right? As the client. So when you walk into an open house without representation, it's not saying we're forcing you to use us. It's saying you understand you're walking in here without representation. And you may not have representation, and that's fine. But here's what my duties are as the person selling it, because I represent the seller. So I'm talking to you as this agent to sell you the property, because my job, I'm hired by the seller to help the seller sell. So whatever information I'm telling you, you're understanding that you're not having somebody with you to let you know if I'm BSing you or not. You see what I'm saying? It's to prevent any confusion that, I was confused. Victor said I had to use him to buy this home. No.
No.
Read the disclosure and sign it. then
Yeah.
if you want to use me, I can help you.
Correct.
And that fee maybe come out of your pocket, or So I think that's what it is. But yeah, to your point, like, you can't look at the home.
Can't look at the home. It is what it is. Can't, would I want to show them the home? Yeah, because I could.
You want to sell the property.
I want to sell the property. I want them to fall in love with it. It's beautifully staged, and we did a lot of prep work to it. Why wouldn't I want someone coming into the house to take a look at the house and then ask me questions? Maybe I can represent them as well, right? However, I can only do what I am, allowed to do.
Yeah. Come on now. Let's be real. Everyone's information is out there on the dark web. Everyone's email. Everyone has multiple emails. They could have made up an email if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
Right. Info, my name, Mark at thisisn'tmyemail.com. Right. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, granted,
we get leads all the time with fake.
We get people click on our website all the time that.
You know what's funny? Shout out to everyone who's done that before. It's funny when you have your name on your email so that you can see the pictures and everything that you're clicking to get, and then you don't put a name. That's funny. I think it's funny.
So they register.
They register.
And it's like, it's
no name.
Mark Williams at gmail.com.
Oh, geez. Let me guess what his name is.
And then they're like, name.
Yes.
Nothing.
Exactly.
It's like, well, your name's right there in your email.
Exactly.
But you know what I'm saying? It's an email. Come
Yeah.
on, guys. Like, Target, get your email. We're not going to spam you.
Yeah.
And even if you did get spam, with the new rules, you can just opt out of whatever you wanted to
unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe. It takes 2 clicks. And by law, we have to follow those guidelines too. So if you ever sign up for anything with us, we follow strict guidelines. If you unsubscribe, it unsubscribes, right? We're not allowed to resubscribe you without your consent.
Correct.
But yeah, so that's the lawsuit. I mean, we're also experiencing, so that's cool. That's like a little bit of insight of like what to expect when you go to an open house. Now, look, it's going to be weird at first because there's going to be people that are doing open houses that don't do the sign in because 1, they're unaware of it, or 2, they just lazy and don't want to do it. So that's where it sucks, is like, who's implementing this stuff? You got those like us that are by the book, and then you get those that like to bend the rules, and then that's where it gets gray area, and then that's how these lawsuits take place. But I'm also, what I'm noticing too is a lot of I get a lot of questions from like existing homeowners. I have a lot of friends that are existing homeowners, and every time we have like a gathering, they're always asking me like, "Oh, how's it affecting your business?" Blah blah blah. To me, it's nothing. I mean, that money doesn't come out of my pocket. I'm not the one. I mean, it does because we pay fees to be part of the National Association of Realtors, but it's not. It doesn't affect business in the sense of it wasn't anything that we weren't already doing.
Yeah.
Like you said, you like it. It was because we were already kind of doing it already.
Yeah.
So now it's just like commonplace.
Yeah, I think the difference now is that other realtors that, just knowing that other realtors that weren't doing it correctly are not forced to do it correctly, so to speak, right? Because now they have to disclose all these things that weren't disclosing. And I mean, let's just be real. Like, we're here to gain market share. We're here to help as many people as possible. So it's a way for us to stand out. So that's why I love it.
Yeah, definitely. So the other side of this lawsuit is the amount. Yeah. I don't have my phone, but it was $418 million was the settlement to the plaintiff, was the settlement to those that sued. $418 million. Now, this is a class action lawsuit. So if you guys are unfamiliar with what the class action lawsuit is, it basically means they choose one case, like one specific case, one specific scenario, and then they use that to kind of show like this is what's going on for hundreds to thousands, 100,000s of people, right? So someone's the main plaintiff, and then they're basically representing like a case study, okay? So of that 418 million, when that settlement is going to get paid out, it's going to be distributed probably amongst thousands and thousands of people. I don't know if you ever received anything in the mail, Victor, like from a class action lawsuit for maybe a product you bought or a service, and it's like, hey, you're entitled, or you get a check for like $2. You ever get one of those?
My old 9 to 5,
Yeah.
someone got sued,
Yeah.
and I received I forgot like what the check was, but it was like $500 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I used to work for a couple major banks, and they get sued all the time.
Yeah.
And like the largest check I got was like 2,500 once. But they're usually like $30,
Yeah.
you know, $30, $20, $100.
Yeah.
Nothing life changing,
Yeah.
right? So this 418 million is not going to change anybody's lives. I take that back. It's going to change somebody's lives. It's going to change the lawyer's life. So the lawyers are asking for over $250 million as their payment for handling that case. $250 million, which means there's only $168 million left to be distributed, probably to, even if it was to 1 million people, is everyone going to get like $1.68?
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
so let's do the math. So how many?
let's just say 100,000 people
100,000
Yeah.
people.
are going to split 168.
$1,680
$1,680.
amongst 100,000 people.
Yeah, you know, like that's but the lawyers,
It only decreases if it's more people.
yeah, but the
That's
lawyers
crazy.
who's maybe a team of, let's just say the lawyer team's like a team of 10, right? Sounds about right. I don't know how big lawyer teams are, but OJ Simpson had like a team of like 5 to 6 lawyers, right? So let's just say like a team of 10 lawyers. So are splitting 250 million. That means they each get 25 million each. So the real winners in this lawsuit are going to be the lawyers that were doing this case for free. They took the case based on we won't get anything paid unless we get paid. So my question to you, Victor, and to everyone listening, and I know, you know, we get representation because we feel our rights were neglected, or our rights weren't given to us. But do you think that lawyer? That's the one thing I find, and you know, maybe this is just a little personal thought, and that's why we're on a podcast, because we can share this stuff. My personal thought is, look, if I was a lawyer and I got a chance to make $25 million where I'll never have to work another day in my life and set up my kids and my kids' kids for wealth beyond wealth, I'm going to do everything in my power within the rules to ensure I win this case.
100%.
And I'm not saying I'm going to lie, and I'm not saying I'm going to make stuff up. What I'm saying is, within the rules,
You're allowed to manipulate.
I'm going to do exactly. Like, maybe there's some stuff I don't present because I don't have to. I'm staying within the rules. You get what I'm getting at? Like, so is the lawyer's best interest with that much money on the line really? Like, essentially, the lawyer's either going to make zero, right? Or they're going to make 25 million. What do you think they want to do? And I'm not saying lawyers are bad, and I'm not saying these people are bad. I'm just saying, like, when you take a step back and you really think about it, it's like, who's really trying to win this case?
Yep.
The person getting $1,600 or a person getting 25 million each, or the law firm getting 250 million. That's crazy. For what?
Yeah, just because something wasn't presented right, or I don't know. I mean, we're like you say, we're still trying to figure it out. A lot of money involved. It's dangerous.
And you know, and let's spend it on real estate. This is why I know you preach this heavily, Victor. You need to interview people when you want to sell your home and buy your home. And when we say that, everybody, that doesn't mean, yes, we want you to interview us. 100%. We may not connect with you. We may not be the one you choose to work with. And that's okay. If our style doesn't fit your style, we don't win every listing appointment we get. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and say, "Oh, we're America's best real estate team." Now, we feel that way, but like, you got to have self-belief.
Or else, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? If you don't think you're the best, what are you doing, right? We're trying to win every day, and we
Yeah.
go into those appointments prepared, and we try to win. But we understand we're not going to win. No one is 100% at winning, right? And, every buyer, like when the buyer, I would say this, though, the buyers that sign up with us and follow our direction, I say we're pretty damn close to 100%.
100%. Yeah.
Pretty damn close to 100%. I would say if they end up not buying, it's not because of anything we did.
Exactly.
Maybe it's a life situation takes place or financial situation that was unexpected, right? And that happens, right?
Yeah.
And we still stick with them, and eventually we'll get them to the finish line. But you got to interview people because you got to tell you want to know who's in this. We're all in it to make a financial gain. You as the seller, you as the buyer, because you're going to be spending money to gain equity. And then us as the agent, because this is how we eat, right? As full-time agents, where all we do is real estate, this is how we eat, right? So we want to make sure that we're successful at what we do. But you want to make sure that the primary focus is not just the money. Like they generally, like I always say, the cool thing about this profession is we got to help families with big life-changing events and become friends and like lifelong acquaintances with them. And then the bonus is we get paid. That's how I look at it.
That's so true.
Instead of getting
When
paid.
when you put the family first and the person that you're helping out first, in their best interest first, you ultimately win.
Yeah.
The money is just a plus.
It's a
out
plus.
of that. 100%. And it's funny because I tell that to every single client when I meet them. Like, hey man, like I'm not here to just to make a paycheck, a quick, 15 grand, 20 grand, whatever the commission check is going to be. I could spend that in 2 weeks to a month if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm here to gain your long-term business and all your family and friends' long-term business. Because if I do good by your side and you are 100% like you like the job that I did, you're going to recommend me to everyone.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm here to do, is to gain a 5-star review in your referral business to everyone that you know. That's what I'm doing it for.
And look, it's there's no secret. Like sometimes the checks can be pretty, like you see the check. Like when I sold my first place, I wasn't a real estate agent, right? I was a seller, and the guy I hired, I paid him. And when you get the breakdown at the title company, I'm like, damn, this dude just made 18 grand off of me.
Yeah.
See, the difference was I was like, damn, this dude made 18 grand. He didn't do shit. Like he was cool. He got me the price I wanted. And I guess he did like the bare, I felt like he did the bare minimum. I wasn't disappointed.
You weren't impressed.
I wasn't impressed.
Yeah.
Right. So we get that. Like you also got to remember, we're not closing 100 deals a week. You know what I'm saying? Like a very successful agent is doing, I would say, I don't want to say label it like success and non-success because everyone's is different. But on average, it's probably like 1 to 2 deals a month on average.
Yeah.
So let's just say you broke that down and the average deal, you're making $10K after fees and this and that. It's someone that makes 150 to 200 grand a year. And we still pay taxes. So I think that's, what is that? Like, it's 100 grand. What was it? 90 grand? Anything below 90 grand, you're like poverty level or something like that. So we struggling just like everybody else.
Yeah. So, I mean, we still have business expenses too. Like it costs money to run a business, like this office that
it ain't free.
It ain't free. we have to pay for it. This podcast equipment we had to invest. Everything is an investment, right? As a realtor, but 100%, man. To your point, like, there's a difference between someone that makes it and someone that deserves it.
Yeah.
You can make 10 grand, but did you deserve it? That's a difference.
No,
so.
I get it. Yeah. You want to feel satisfied.
100%.
It's just like when you go to a restaurant and it's, especially with like social media now, right? Like
you could pay.
Oh man, this is the best burger spot ever. Dude, this smash burger is amazing. The line's like an hour. You're sitting there waiting. You get your burger and it's trash.
Yeah. or maybe like not a like super busy restaurant, but like it's expensive.
Yeah.
and you just paid $150 for this dinner, and it's terrible.
Yeah. How does that make you feel, right?
You wouldn't be happy, right?
No,
So
it's not you trying to be a Karen or whatever. It's just
yeah,
like, dude, like this is hard earned money, especially nowadays, right?
yeah,
With the dollar stretching. But so that's a little bit of recap of the settlement. Hope you guys got some insight on that. There was one more thing we wanted to cover before we got out
yeah,
of here today.
yeah. So everyone that heard the news last week, um, the Fed cutting the rate.
Oh yeah.
The Fed cutting the rate.
The federal fund rate.
The federal fund rate.
Fund rate. Okay, let me rephrase that. The federal fund rate, not mortgage rate, not prime rate, the federal fund rate. So what was that cut, Victor?
So the Fed cut it by half a point, 0.50%. Okay. Everyone was expecting a 0.25% cut. So twice as much as what was expected. It was an aggressive move by the Fed to pretty much stabilize the economy.
Yeah,
Right?
and I think it was aggressive because of the incorrect numbers they had as far as like employment.
Yes.
So to them trying to correct their mistake.
Which we all know how we feel about that.
Yeah,
Was
they
it
knew.
truly a mistake?
Yeah, come on now. But yeah, so and when we got that announcement, Victor, what kind of happened? What did you see on? I saw the same thing, and if you're on social media, TikTok, Instagram,
All
Facebook,
social media. Yeah.
all social media platforms, if you're on there and you follow any remote realtors, you're gonna get some stuff in your stream. What were you seeing, Victor?
So we were seeing, Mark, that a lot of lenders, realtors, real estate professionals in general were misleading and misinforming the public. They took the actual statement that was released in the articles, the news articles with this cut, and thinking it was a mortgage rate decrease to 5% from let me rephrase that, 4.75% to 5%. And that's completely incorrect.
Yeah,
The federal, it has no correlation with mortgage rates.
it does not.
The cut has no correlation with mortgage rates. What it does affect directly is car loans, equity lines, and credit cards.
So those go off the prime rate, the Wall Street Journal prime rate. And in all honesty, the prime rate is usually 3 basis points different from the federal fund rate, okay? But the prime rate does usually follow the trend of the federal rate. So it
Over
doesn't
time.
it's still not connected.
Yes.
But it kind of follows that direction. And it's true because if you look at car loans today, if you were shopping for cars, when me and my wife were we got to replace her car, so we're on the fence of buying something cash or like, do we get another car loan? And I told her to check the rates after they announced it, and it dropped like 0.5%. So yes, that stuff. Now, have mortgage rates been dropping? Absolutely, but they don't. Will this news? So the mortgage rates, they're connected to like the bond market.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'm not an economist. I barely passed both macro and micro econ in college. I understand how it works a little bit, but for the most part, like news like this does help in whatever actually affects the mortgage rate, that confidence level for investing and stuff like that. It can correlate and trickle down to better rates for us. And it has, like the news of this coming.
Just the news coming
Yeah,
out.
but the news of this on the horizon, we've slowly been seeing rates drop. With this news, did we see another rate drop? We saw a little bit of a decrease the week of the news came out. Now you can get in the 5% now. There, FHA programs.
If you buy down, maybe.
Yeah, FHA
also.
programs. I'm hearing like 5.125, 5.25. Now that's the APR, right? You got to remember these loans have additional fees to them. There's more closing costs. There's some additional percentages that are added to the loan balance. You pay a monthly insurance. So yes, the rate is 5.25, but the actual rate is not. Okay. There's a difference between the APR and the APY and what your actual rate is, and then what your rate is with the compounding interest and all the additional fees. Conventional loan, I talked to somebody, and depending on your credit, I have heard like high fives, like 5.99, 5.75 to like low sixes. So rates are definitely better, because this time last year we were talking like mid sevens,
Yes.
some eights.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, yes, have things gone in the consumer's favor? Absolutely. But we've known this. We've talked about this for a year and a half now. Like, it's a cycle. Mortgage rates are a cycle. They're usually like a 10-year cycle. They go up, they go down. They go up, they go down, right? So it's all about not really timing the cycle. It's all about just like understanding there's a cycle. The word is cyclic. Understanding that it's cyclic, and that you're going to eventually, whenever you buy, if it's not beneficial for you, it will get beneficial for you. That's all it is, right? So, my thing is, I never like
Talking about rates.
because you're either going to buy a house or you're not.
You either see the plus of and the advantages of it, or you're not.
Because typically, lower rates mean more competition. The problem in this country is we have a housing shortage. In California specifically, we have a housing shortage. That's why you're noticing people move. So they call it like, to wrap up the podcast, but the whole reason of suburbs was because there wasn't enough room in like metro areas, right? So San Francisco being like the metro area, the hub. Well, it starts spreading out and out because, one, affordability, right? Transportation plays a big role in that. You go from horseback to cars to trains to planes. Like, you can travel now, right? You can live further. The further you live away from urban areas, the cheaper it is usually. Correct?
Usually.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Depending on where it's at.
Yeah.
On the shores of Malibu, obviously it's expensive, but you got what I'm getting at. Like, you live in San Francisco. We both live in East Contra Costa County. It's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Our houses are cheaper. If I had that same house where I live now, it'd be like 4 times the price, right? So, and then from where we live, you go to San Joaquin County, the Central Valley. It's cheaper.
Yep.
And you continue east, it's cheaper.
Yep.
Continue southeast, even more cheaper, right? So that's the whole thing. What I'm getting with this is like that's how you got to look at it, right? Okay, it's like, what can I afford? Where do I want to live? What can I afford? Now, the rate's going to help you afford more, but what ends up happening when rates go down? Prices go up. So it always counteracts. So the issue is the shortage in housing. And that's why you're seeing these neighborhoods. Just look at Elk Grove. I showed homes in Elk Grove like 5-6 years ago. Like, and they took a big hit during the crash, but it's in the middle of nowhere. And there's this huge city that's super popular now that has great schools. You can spend $1 million out there if you want. Like, but there's nothing there. It's landlocked, right? But because of a housing shortage, people have to travel, become like these super regions now, right? So, if you're going to buy, you're going to buy. Don't let the rate dictate what you want to buy.
100%. We're very payment oriented. If you're comfortable with your payment, then you can get into home ownership.
Yeah.
So
cool, man.
But
Any
that's pretty
final
much it.
thoughts?
Be careful. Be careful of what you read, what you see. Not everything that you read and see is true. Make sure you do your own research. Again, cannot stress it enough. Do your own research before you conclude on anything.
Perfect. Very well said. I couldn't say it better myself, Victor. There's a saying, I know what I know, and what I don't know, I reach out to experts. I just made that up, but it's basically something like that. You only know what you know, and then what you don't know, you go seek advice from people that do know that, right?
That actually do it for a living.
Yeah, and I always say, take advice from the people you want to be like.
100%.
You want to be a homeowner? Go ask some homeowners. Don't ask cousin Larry that's been renting for 30 years and's been in and out of rentals. You know what I'm saying? That
Right.
has, a $2,000 a month car payment and has to work 3 jobs to pay it. Go ask the person that owns a home that did what you want to do and figure out how they did it. They're the expert. They did it. Go ask them, right? So
Yeah.
cool, man. Well, that's another episode of the Most Valuable Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. Set your notifications, available on all platforms. And with that being said, we look forward
to winning with you.